Welcome to Clear Vision Wednesday. My name is Trisha Kirby. I am guest hosting today for Claudia, who's traveling. And today's topic is something that has been a fun little thing that I've done and something that I very much have as near and dear to my heart, which is about visioning and creating a vision for yourself in your life. Now, you may be asking yourself, what does visualization have to do with vision improvement? And let me tell you. So, first of all, most of vision in our life happens in our brain, not in our eyes. So, part of it's in the eyes, but most of it is in the brain. So, what we want to keep in mind is that our ability to imagine things is very, very important. So, I'm gonna share with you some personal things, and we have a guest speaker today. I'm going to introduce her in just a moment, but I want to bring in just some fun little things first of all. So we're at the start of the year, and this is a time of year when people quite often are thinking about, what do I want to create? What do I want to have as goals in my life? What do I want to really change in my life to make it better? And for me, symbolically, one of my favorite movies on this topic is Last Holiday with Queen Latifah. And she has this moment. So I'm not, if you haven't seen it, it's a great movie. So I'm going to encourage you to watch it. It's on DVD. But the reason that one of the things I like about it, it's about a lady who realizes that she has a short period of time left to live her life. And how is she going to fill that time? And one of my favorite scenes in the movie is she has a book which she calls her book of possibilities. And she has pictures of herself doing different things, or she's created pictures of herself doing different things that she wants to do. This is that she's really excited about. And that's part of her visioning process. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But one of my favorite little points that Bates makes about vision is he says he waited 5 years to share this discovery in 1921 that imagination was one of the most important parts of vision. And he said that he stood with a person, he had a client with him, a patient with him that had a -6 diopter, that's really strong nearsightedness. And he said that just using their imagination, they could read precisely diamond-sized type. Now, diamond type's really tiny, but diamond-sized type from 15 feet away. That's amazing. And they did it because of their imagination. So he realized that using our imagination really improves our physical vision. So what we're going to be looking at today is, first of all, how we can use imagination and visualization to create a better vision for ourselves. But it's also bringing in the idea that you have the control. You have the ability to make this your dream year. And that's the main thing I want to say. So I am beyond thrilled to bring on Lindsay Hack. So I ran across Lindsay last year, and it was in an AI group, actually. I joined this AI group, and she started posting these incredibly cool images, and she started talking about vision boards. And I just was like magnetized in. I thought, oh, this is super interesting. I'm an artist. I'm very visual. I realized that I have a gift to be incredibly gifted to see things in my mind with ease. I also acknowledge, having talked to hundreds of other vision students in our programs, that not everybody has that capacity to imagine well. And I haven't known how to address that. Like, how do I teach people how to imagine when they don't have that in their minds? Well, Lindsay is that bridge. Amazing. So Lindsay, I want you to say a little bit about yourself and how you got into this. Well, your background first, how you got into this, and then we're going to have a talk about things. So let me bring you on. Super excited. Okay.
Yay. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Lindsay Hack, and I'm the owner and CEO of The Identity Hacker. And thank you, Trisha, for having me on. I'm super excited to be here with you guys. So let me tell you, my story is, for the longest time, I always just thought I was broken because I couldn't visualize. Okay, I have taken courses and classes, and I even got to sit with the Dalai Lama in India, and I still saw nothing. And so when Trisha and I started having this conversation, I was saying to her, this is the opposite of you. I can't see, there's no color, nothing. And so I just did what any normal I think human being normally does in that situation, I'd smile and nod and pretend, right? I would just say, yes, of course I can see, what's going on in my world. And when you live in the world of whether it's entrepreneurship or dreams or believing, you really need to see what's going on, whether it's visualization, manifestation, any of those things. So I've been a health and fitness coach, life coach for 25 years, and I've helped people transform nervous system. I've helped them transform habits. And part of that is to really believe what your next step is going to be, what that action is going to look like. And even though I couldn't do it myself, I knew I had to support people and figure out how to do it. And so, I've taught vision board workshops for the last 15 years. So, when Trisha asked who's done a vision board, it was something that I really believed in from a life and a health and a fitness perspective to really try to go after what you want to do for the full year of your life, right? Whether that's travel or health or vision or whatever it is, let's create. And so we always used, magazines and glue sticks, when online came about and we started using Canva and Pinterest, but we were always trying to fit our ideas into something else. So could I flip through my magazine and find a house that may look like a house I kind of think would be nice, right? Or even in Canva or Pinterest, what did it look like? And so that was just kind of the way it was. And I was okay with that. About 2 years ago, I started playing with AI images for fun for me because, why not? That sounds like it was going to be something that was going to be fun. And when I was getting ready for my next vision board workshop, I had that moment of like, I wonder what would happen. And I put these images into my vision board. And I'm not going to lie, I ugly cried because I was like, oh, this is what everybody says when they say, oh, I see myself in 5 years. I see myself traveling. I see myself talking on a TEDx stage. Since I could never see it, AI was able to bring it to life for me. And so I didn't stop shouting it from the rooftops because I could not believe how exciting this was. And so in the last, 18 months, I've been teaching workshops. I've been bringing people into my school community, which is basically just learning how to do this. I've been showing people the power and the neuroscience of it. It's not just a woo-woo thing. It's very neuroscience based. And so I'm just super excited to share this with you guys today. So thank you for having me.
Yes, and I'm in your school community too. I highly, highly recommend that. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so give us a little, show us some of what you can do. Tell us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to share my screen here. And before actually I do that, I have a quick question for you in the comments. You don't have to come on screen. You don't have to unmute. But so Trisha asked originally who has done vision boards, and we got a few nevers, we got some onces. My next question to you is, who has used AI before? And I don't care how you've used it. Maybe it's a fun little app that you've played with. Maybe somebody's used ChatGPT or something like that. But who has never used AI before? Who has played with AI a little bit, who absolutely hates it? I'm okay with that too, if you want to throw that in the comments, and who has played a lot with it. So Suzanne's never. Okay, great. And so the reason I ask this is because a lot of what I use and do with AI is very different than you might have ever seen before. So Wendy's saying I've used AI for work-related projects. Beautiful. Stephanie's, I'm wary of it. Okay, great. We're going to talk about that a little bit in a minute, Stephanie. I use AI every day. Nicole, fantastic. Holly, never. Okay, so we have a bit of a mixture, and that's great. Never, don't trust it. Okay, Lynn, that's good to know. Never. Only the AI generated answers in response to browser search. Yes, right. Everywhere is AI, whether you're Google searching or you're on your phone, it's like AI answer to this. Sometimes I'm an artist and designer and hate AI. Oh, this is good. I'm strongly right-brained and I don't want a stranger programming doing my brain work. Oh, so interesting, Kathleen. So I'll tell you the opposite side of that is I am an artist and really struggled with my creativity until I started using AI. So it's going to be very interesting to see this conversation. A little ChatGPT. Okay, beautiful. So as I said, for me, what I do is I use AI very differently. Now, that doesn't mean I don't use AI in the very normal tense of the words if you're in business, et cetera. But I use it in a little bit of a different way. And I use it because of this lack of visualization. And as Trisha said, she uses a great word that I use all the time is I bridge that gap. Okay, I bridge the gap from the person who can't necessarily see anything to somebody who then can see something. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. I've just got a very, very quick little information here for you, only because, well, it's very visual and I am not a visual person. So let's bring it together so you guys can see it as well. So visualization trains the brain before the eyes follow. So I know we talk a lot about vision, obviously, and what you guys do, but what AI does is it helps makes that process a little bit more effective. Okay. And so what tends to happen is AI generated imagery is transforming the way people use visualization to help support clarity, focus, and overall visual well-being. So remember, when I talk about vision or visualization, I'm not necessarily talking about just our eyes. However, as Trisha said at the beginning, your seeing things is much more based out of here than it is necessarily out of here. So what I do is I bring that to a place where now I can see it with my eyes and my brain can also be a part of it. So it's a really, really powerful thing. Traditional visualization falls short for somebody like myself who does not and cannot visualize, right? But AI images help us bring the brain to concentrate on something that's a little bit easier to see. And then it's more consistent and more effective. For me, what it did is, as I said, it bridged that gap. And now I'm not able to unsee her. So I can now see her and know all the things that I'm trying to become. So me personally, I do a lot of travel. I have a lot of things going on in my world from a business perspective. I bring that to light with my AI imaging. This could be a house, a car. This could be your time with your grandkids. This could be anything that you want to visualize, but maybe aren't able to. All right, let me just pull this up a little. I don't see the comments nearly as much when I am sharing the screen. So I'll come in. Did you read Betty Edwards' book, Drawing in the Right Side of the Brain? I have read that, but I think so a while ago. I'll have to come back to it because I'm very curious. All right, so if you guys have any questions about any of this, first of all, just know I talk fast. It's like a fire hose of information. I use my hands. I get excited. It's because I'm very passionate. So if I go over something and you're just like, oh my gosh, what did she say? Ask it and I'll come back to the questions in a minute. Okay. So as I said, I'm a health and life coach for 24 years. Okay. I really help with transformations through the nervous system regulation, mindset, and sustainable habits. And then I blend the holistic wellness principles with modern AI, which I know sounds kind of counterproductive for some of you who are like, I don't trust it, I'm not sure about it, but this is what I've done with it. And I've made it to become this idea where I can create and see exactly who I want it to become. And then I'm able to step into that person, right? So it then creates this internal condition, whereas clarity and ease is such a big part of what I do. So as I said, my turning point story was that I just couldn't see her. And I just figured it would be okay, that I would just continue along my path. And then when I was able to add some of these images into my vision board, back in 2024, I realized that it was the bridge that I absolutely needed. All right. So traditional, as I said, vision boards, right? This is old school style with cut and paste. And back in, when The Secret came out, so like 2005, they said if you put an image of yourself in the center of your vision board, you would feel much more connected to all of these images. Okay. And I love this one so much. It's from 2017 because I put Mexico up here. I have no idea why. It just kind of came to me. And it was in 2018, my family and I actually left Canada, moved to Mexico, where we lived for the last 8 years, and only just left in December of last year to travel to South America, which is where we are currently. So Canva changed things up, but still I had to input my own images of myself riding. This used to have an image of a horse, just a random horse. And then I inputted this image. This used to, as you see, it was a picture of me taking photos of hot air balloons, but I wasn't in those images, right? And it makes it really hard to visualize, non-visual person, remember, to see yourself when you're not in those images. And now you're able to actually take the AI image and create yourself in it, right? So I want to run a retreat where I have women coming to do really hard things. I want to do some pull-ups. That's a big goal of mine, right? I have myself inside these images. And so now all of a sudden I'm starting to act like her. I can see her and I can actually manifest exactly what I want to do. So I have found that this to be such a great thing. So our brain doesn't need, it doesn't need pretty, it needs proof, right? And this is a really big part of that. And even the traditional vision boards, of course, I love them. I used them for 15 years. But what I find is now we're able to really, truly see exactly what we want. This is a client of mine. She wants to win an Oscar. So, of course, I created her an image of her standing on the red carpet holding her beautiful Oscar, right? I have a client who wants to be a fashion guru. This is her in her own studio, right? So it becomes part of this brain where we can really create it. Now, I can't talk about AI imaging without talking about integrity, without talking about ethics and morals. And this is a really important fact for me to bring out. You are not going to get this conversation with a lot of people who use AI, and that's fine, and that's their choice. Truly believe, in my opinion, professionally and personally, that it's not necessarily an AI conversation, it's a human being conversation. And let me explain that. AI is a tool in my toolbox. Whether I'm an artist or a coach or a businesswoman, my toolbox includes AI. Okay. People use money tool in good ways and in bad ways. People will always use your tools, AI, potentially in a good way, potentially in a bad way. Okay. But what I do ask people to think about before they ever embark on the AI journey of anything is ask yourself about your ethical and your moral choices. Okay. This is an image of me. This is called my hot bod girl. Okay. I can't wait for my triceps to pop like that. I have this on my vision board. Every single day I look at this girl and I know that I'm going after her, especially on the days I don't want to get out of my butt and go to the gym. I look at her and she helps me. Okay. But I would never put this image on my website and say, buy my products. This is what I look like. For me, that is unethical. Right? That is my morals, right? So I want you to ask yourself, how do you respect your own intellectual properties and avoid misuse? The other thing I want to say here is this motivates the crap out of me. Okay. It is on my phone. It is in my calendar. Every time it says go to the gym, it's not just go to the gym, it's go to the gym because you want to be her. She is telling you to do that. But if this image, kind of like those jeans you got when you were like in high school that you sit in your closet and you think one day I'll fit into those jeans, but every time you walk past said jeans, they make you feel like crap. That's no longer empowering you to do something, right? This empowers me to get my butt off the chair and go to the gym, right? That may become an unattainable ideas. And that's where we say that from a moral perspective, it's not the right place to be. Okay. So we can talk more if anybody has any questions about this, but I just like to make it very clear where I come from when it comes to the use of AI. Because for me, I don't turn around and say, oh, I just got back from Mallorca in my private jet. We know people do. We've seen it on the internet. But guess what? We've seen it on the internet since Photoshop was 20 years ago. So it's not new in that sense, but it still comes down to the human being, right? I use AI to motivate me, to help me, to support me, to become me, right? In that sense. But I don't necessarily use it to try to fake out anybody or think this is my body in real life. So that's where it becomes more ethical and moral. So I just say to people, ask yourselves what you think. And if you don't want to use it, I'm never going to try to convince you otherwise. So don't ever think I'm here to have an argument with you. But I'll tell you from the experience that I have had with clients over and over again, including my own experiences, I can tell you there are massive benefits to what I'm telling you guys about. And if you don't want to use them, that's okay too. Okay, just move on. You can even leave, and I will not feel bad about that. Right. So people use these images in multiple ways. Okay. So some people use them when they do a visualization or a meditation session. Some people use them just to kind of come to peace with themselves. Right. Everybody has them, some on their phone, from their vision board. People use them in different ways. I work with different people in different ways, and each person has created their own way of using it. So again, I'm not here to say there's only one way. I'm here to tell you this is the way I've seen to work the best for me personally and my clients and everybody in my AI Identity Lab, which is my school community. There are ways amongst everybody to use them in different ways. And that's the beauty of what we're doing here. So let's talk about the science, because a lot of people say to me, well, isn't that really woo-woo-y, Lindsay? Like, isn't that just like the secrets that there are just hum and hope for it to come? There are some of that. I won't get, if you're into that, I love that stuff for everything. But what happens is our brain filters out 11 million bytes of information every second. Take a look around you. There are sounds, there are smells, there are things. Maybe you're grabbing your water, you're feeling something, right? There's so much information coming at us at once. We don't know it all. We can't. So our RES, which is the reticular activating system in our brain, is kind of like the bouncer of your brain. Okay. And I always laugh at this example, because it's not like I've been to a club and I don't know how long, but let's just pretend you're at a club and the bouncer's there being like, yes, you can come in. No, you can't come in. No, you can't. Yes, you can. That's what the RAS is doing. It's filtering in information. And in our case, there's 4 main reasons that we get filtered. 1, your name. If you're ever in the grocery store or the airport and you hear your name and you automatically look around, that's because the RAS is like, that could be important. 2 is any sexual advances important for the humankind. So we're just going to leave it there. 3 is that intuition that maybe don't walk down that dark alley, right? That's important because the RAS is helping us that. And 4, and most important in what we're talking about right now, is what it thinks is important to you. So let me repeat that. Not what is important to you, what it thinks is important to you. So if you're constantly saying all the negative things that we go through, where we live in a world right now where it's always crazy, right? If you're constantly watching the news, if you're doing these things, the RAS is going to think it's important to you. It's going to show you more evidence, more evidence, more evidence. So it actually does help strengthen our neural pathways. If you ever see Serena Williams or Tiger Woods, they almost talk through their games before they even have them, right? That's the neural pathway, because the brain doesn't know the difference between doing and actually doing. How great is that? That means we can do anything we want, really. It increases our motivation and focus. I told you my picture tells me to get my butt off the chair and go for my run or go to the gym or whatever it may be, right? I'm big into trail running. I do a lot of races. If it would only work that I could sit my butt on this chair and never do anything and still win those races, yay, it would be amazing. But that's not how, of course, it works. So it helps us motivate us to do the work, but it doesn't do the work for us. So it's really, really important. And then the last one, of course, is it reinforces positive beliefs. Okay. We live and breathe beliefs in our system, whether it's from our childhood, our parents, the world, society, all of the above. I had a client who wanted to write a book for 20 years, but she never really got down to writing it because she would always ask herself, why me? Do people really care what I have to say? You know, all those things, right? They come at us all the time. And what I did is I created her an image very similar to this one, where she's reading her book at her book launch in a bookstore. And every time she wanted to go write some words, I told her to pull this image up, sit down with it. And now, instead of having the limiting beliefs that I can't, I don't know what's the win, the brain is like, well, it's already been done. Look right there. There's proof for you. And she is now, I'm happy to report, on chapter 9. And that's the most words she's ever written in her entire life. So I'm telling you that the reason I'm so passionate about this is it works. Okay. I have had Nellie, I created her this image because she wanted to go to Paris. The next day she booked her retreat. Louise wanted to take her family to volunteer in Africa. I created this image for her and she's going next year. Lisa wanted to do more speaking gigs. She's now an international speaker. Michelle wanted to apply to a job, but she had never seen her little cute outfit. I was like, I got to make that for her. So then she applied for the job and got it. This is my husband, Ben. He's a big trail runner. He signed up for his race. And Stephanie here, she actually really wanted to do the Tour de France, the bike tour. And she actually just got back in September of last year. So this is happening and helping and supporting people, really pushing them towards their goals, right? So again, what that looks like for you and every other person on this call and every other person out there, it is different, right? Some people, it's about houses. Some people, it's about speaking on stage. This is me. It's about just calmly enjoying lunch in the middle of the day, right? It's retreats, it's podcasts. Everybody has a different way. There's no one way, right or wrong. You won't see houses and private jets and cars on my vision board or my visualization. That is okay. I'm a travel girly through and through, and I'm currently in South America. I want to travel. So on my vision and my visualization and my vision boards, I have a lot of travel stuff. Right. But that doesn't mean that if you want a car or if you want a house or any of those things, you can't do it. So I just really like to make sure you understand that it can be anything you want. It could be as simple as wanting to get up and down off the floor with your grandkids. It could be you want to take your grandkids and their kids to, Disney World for the day and not think, oh my gosh, I have to actually move my body for 12 hours at Disney World, right? Or whatever it may be. So really, when it comes down to it, I want to make sure that you guys see the power of this. So visually, of course, because it's such a visual thing, but also know that I have seen in the last, I have had over 300 people come through my workshops. I have people in my community. I work on one-on-one with clients. I have seen so much incredible results with this that I'm okay turning around to somebody who says, I don't want to use AI, I'm not interested. And I'm say, okay, no problem. Right. I have enough evidence to say that I have seen massive changes. I'm going to talk about Trisha's experience as well in just a minute, but such incredible experiences that I am absolutely very, very passionate about what I say. And that is why. So that's the other thing. All right. Let me just quickly look if anybody has a PS. They never liked image boards either. Would enjoy exchanging our posts. Oh, of course. Absolutely. And you know what? It's funny because vision boards, image boards, mood boards, whatever you want to call them, I like to call them becoming boards. Because let's be honest, if I just put a vision on something and I don't do anything for it, it's a big difference. But yeah, Kathleen, I'm absolutely interested. The reticular activating system. Yes, exactly. What it thinks is important to you. This is the biggest piece, right? I had a client who was feeling all the feels as you do when life gets heavy. This was during COVID. And, my first question to her was, how often are you watching the TV? And she's like, oh, it's on 24/7. And I'm like, well, if you're watching it for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I mean, obviously you're not, but if it's everywhere like that, you are going to get pulled into that position. And then your RAS is going to be like, oh, this is important to her. I'm going to show her all the other things that may feel important, which normally they're not. What AI program do you use to create these images? And that's a great question, Wendy. So there are multiple ones out there. I always say the best case is beginner when you don't have to do anything else is using a Gemini, which is a Google workspace. It's called Nana Banana, super easy. And then I also go as to extremes of more advanced where you're training what I call your Flux Lore, which is actually training your AI twin. And then it comes a little bit more specific to you. So there's lots of ways in there, but it's also not just about the tool, right? It becomes part of the process. And a lot of people come to me and they're like, I don't really know what I want. Or maybe I have so many ideas, I'm not sure where to start. So there's a lot of pieces to that as well, that I really like to kind of work with people, but I'm always open to sharing tools too, because I mean, again, I want everybody to do this. My goal is, in the next 10 years to have millions of AI images and vision boards out there so that people can truly feel what I get to feel every single day. So I love that. I love that. Yes. And okay, there we go. I think I got all the questions. I think I did. But anyway, so Trisha, I'm gonna bring you because I know you and I obviously have had this conversation before. But when you first came into my world, I know you did the workshop. So what happened? Can you tell us a little bit about what happened when you came in? Because you're the opposite. You're like a very visual person. So when you and I talk, we're like, huh, interesting. You're very much not like me. But so tell me kind of that.
So I love the topic of vision boards, and it's one of my favorite. It's just one of my favorite tools as a coach for people to create the life that they want to create. And because here's the thing, and this is for all the visual, everybody here is visual, at least seeing with their eyes, even if you don't see with your imagination. Your eyes are taking in information and content and perception all day long. It's literally 85%. The eyes are responsible for 85% of your perceptions of the world. Are you going to direct that towards watching the news and being scared all day long about what might happen in the world? Or are you going to direct it towards creating the life that you're really excited about and that it's calling you forward? So it's about empowerment. So when I saw your course and I was like, oh, this is so cool. I can't believe this. And I joined it. And I'm not going to lie. It was, I think, now here's the thing that's nice is AI is evolving all the time. So it is getting easier and easier to do the things that you want to do. So when we first were starting out at the beginning, oh my God, so long ago, like a year and a half ago, it was harder to do. Now with your guidance, you made it easy. So I understood it. I followed it. I got excited about it. But what it did for me was that when I used to make vision boards, well, two things would happen with vision boards. One is I would get discouraged because I couldn't find the image that I wanted for the idea that I had of myself for the vision board. I just couldn't find it. Like one of them that I always wanted, it was like me in front of a computer doing a podcast. And I couldn't find an image of anybody doing a podcast where I was like, that's what it looks like. That's the one that I want. I just couldn't find it. And even through tons of magazines, my girlfriends are always giving me magazines because they know I love doing vision board stuff. So the second thing that would happen is because I couldn't find that image is that I would never end up finishing the vision board. It would just be like, it would just sit in a box or it would be half done on a piece of paper. And I have at least 3 or 4 half done vision boards. and I would be disappointed when I would look at them. This takes that away. This gives you really the focus, the clarity, the goal intentioning that makes it easy, because you are creating the image exactly or almost exactly as you want it. And the fun thing is with AI is there's always a little surprise in it. Like there's always a little, oh, I didn't think of that, but I like that. That is so cool that that came up in that image, because it'll put things together that you maybe didn't think of putting in there. And you actually end up liking it. So when I saw it, I thought, oh, this is really neat. I'm going to do something with this. And I've played with it. I'm not showing, I'll show one image. Actually, I could show one image. Let me bring it up. This was, yeah, it's like the podcast one. It's
I
not
love
perfect.
this.
I still have to work with it. I still have to work with it. Hang on. I want this one. Okay, I'm going to tell a couple of two little stories here. Okay, let me share screen. It's called Trisha Teaching.
Yes, I love
There's
it.
me online, not in my house. I look like I'm in some cottage in British and in Great Britain. That's what I thought when I saw it. I was like, oh, I seem to be traveling in this picture because that is not my home. In the future, I would actually put my home in and drop my home in, so I would have that full visualization, but it still is the right idea. And I thought that, and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool, but you get excited when you see that. And it's literally, it's just fun. It's fun, it's inspirational. And I literally, when I look at pictures like that, I get goosebumps, because I think, I'm manifesting. I just brought a dream of mine into physical form, even if it's just in a picture, but it has good energy around it. Okay, it's the other one. This is just a funny one. How realistic are the images? That's pretty close. I probably would tweak the picture a little bit of me, because your input guides your output. But I have to share the one of the cat. This is so funny. All right. Okay. So I created a model of a cat that I house sit for a very good longtime friend of mine, and his name is Pete. And this is Pete the cat, and it looks just like him. This is not a photo. This is an AI generated image, and I did it as a Thanksgiving card, because this is the kind family that invites me over to Thanksgiving every year, and I did a little card for them of Pete the cat, and I showed it to them as a gift, and Pete's owner immediately said, "Oh, where did you take him?" Because she thought I took him to this luxury cabin, because I put in luxury cabin with the cat and the fall leaves. And she wasn't annoyed about it. She was just like, oh, that looks like a nice place. Where did you take the cat? I didn't take the cat anywhere. AI took the cat, because that's how
I
good
love it.
yeah, she
Yeah.
didn't difference. She had no idea. But you can do so much with this, and I absolutely love it. One of the things I want to say now, this is a slightly more serious topic. I want to bring in, I talk with hundreds of students. We have tons of students come through our programs with the holistic with natural vision improvement. So many of them come in with, so they'll have nearsightedness, and part of what you were talking about with fear and moving past fear. These images help you move past the fear of seeing like what I want to do, like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I can't, I don't know. I'm not. These images help you move past that fear. But even bigger than that is when people have moved into vision conditions like cataracts and glaucoma and age-related macular degeneration. A lot of this from my time in coaching these folks has to do with not being able to see a future that you're excited about, or not even having a future that you're excited about. They don't know what they want to tune into, or if they do, they don't know what it's going to look like. But they're literally, their vision begins to, and I'm telling you, telling the audience, it really correlates. Martin Brofman wrote a whole book on the topic of the physical, your mental, emotional input into what creates some of the physical problems that we have in life. And he will absolutely, and he talks about this. And so I'm just going to give one. For cataracts, it's feeling that life no longer holds excitement. Maybe you've experienced a loss, like the retirement, your own retirement, or your spouse's retirement, or your spouse got sick, or you lost a loved one. Your vision becomes clouded, and you just don't, you think the future's dark. You don't even feel like you have a future that's worth stepping into. And so you want to look towards identifying new passions, new things that you can be excited about, uplifting people. You want to acknowledge that life still has opportunities. So it's really about creating that future. And these images make it so easy to tune into a future that you're excited about and embracing and wanting to step into for fun, to like really create a life that you're excited to look at, to experience, and step into. And I can't say this enough because it comes up so often, especially with cataracts, especially with AMD, being excited not only about the future, but about the present moment, like having things that you're anticipating with joy and excitement. So you gave a lot of really great stories, and I love that. I want to ask you, for people that you could help, what do you have in your, like, what you teach or what you offer? Like, I took your vision board workshop, then I joined your community. I'm now in a 5 week uh, group with you that's about manifesting for business, and it's so much fun. So what can you offer for people? What do you have
Yeah.
coming up in your future that people could participate in?
Yeah, well, I love that. And I love that you've been taking so many things because, like you say, you get the experience of what I'm talking about. I do my workshops once a month. My next one is February 3rd. It's Tuesday, I think 2 o'clock Eastern time. And it's basically just learning how to create the images and create your vision board and bringing it all together. As I said, Trisha, you've taken it. It has morphed a little bit in the last year and a half, just because, of course, AI does change so quickly. So I've made it a little bit easier, even since AI has changed. My AI Identity Lab is a community on School, and that's just showing people how to really show up for themselves, be more visible, and have the confidence and using the AI images to be able to do that. And, I said briefly in a little bit earlier ago that I have all this evidence that I have seen happen. And one of the things I've seen to be such a powerful thing, especially with women, but men as well, but especially with women, is sometimes we hide, right? We hide behind what we might look like, or we hide behind what we see in our own images of our photos or whatever. And when we start creating images like this, it pulls our confidence levels and it creates this person who's now okay. I have a client who is very big chested, and she's always been very, very, very cautious about her chest, which is amazing. I mean, I'm the opposite, so I have no idea what she's talking about, but let's just go with it anyways. I was probably the opposite with that. And so I started creating some images for her. And, I made a few dresses where she was having this beautiful red dress over Christmas, and she had a little bit more cleavage than she probably would have ever imagined. And she's gotten to the point where now she's kind of like, yeah, why don't I share? Why can't I be? Right. And the confidence in her has just increased because she's able to look at herself a little bit differently because of these AI images. So I feel like there's so many pieces to it. There's so many layers of it. And Trisha had mentioned kind of that idea of how do you connect, right? And so for me, the biggest and most important part about an AI image is being emotionally connected to them. And I'll come to the questions that are in that in the chat in just a second. And one of these is going to answer it a little bit. But so back in the day, as I said, when I showed you that traditional vision board where it had a picture of me and then all the magazine cuttings were around it. Well, what I do and what I focus a lot on is called the anchor. And the anchor is something that emotionally connects you to your images. So it could be a necklace, it could be a ring, it could be a favorite mug, a pen, a journal, something like that. And what it does is it allows you to, every time you see that in an image, it instantly emotionally connects you to that image. And that really does help with visualization and understanding and belief and all of the things that I've just talked about. Okay, so let me just come back here too quickly for a question that says, I'm good at, Nancy says, I have good, strong imagination, visualization, dreams. I love that for you. I'm so jealous. So how can AI help you just reinforce the positive imagery instead of disaster scenarios? So yes, absolutely. That would be one of them. I would say that if you do find yourself having a good imagination and visualization, helping you kind of remove some of those doomsday scenarios that we might have just because, well, life and everything that's going on. The other thing, and Trisha mentioned it, and again, I can pull from her experience of being able to be visual and creative and all those things. It's in your face all the time, right? So vision boards in the past, have been collecting dust in closets for 20 years. People have been doing them or half doing them or maybe doing them or finishing them and then putting them under their bed and never to look at them again, right? And we need front center in our face so that we can constantly be thinking, right? That's where the RES is really helpful. So I have mine on my phone. I have it on my computer. I have people who've printed it off and put it on in a thing behind me. I've created photo books for people so they can skim through them. So it's just, that's what I would would say, Nancy, for your case is yes, disaster scenarios, if that's something that happens to you often, but also just to keep it front of mind. And those people who can do visualization and dreaming and imagination all the time, that's great. But there is life that goes on around us. So sometimes I'm in the middle of doing all these things. And then, as I said, up pops my time to go to the gym. And let's be honest, I could probably, shun that off a little bit, but my image pops up on my phone and then instantly I'm there. My future self is telling me to get my butt to the gym so that I can get my triceps, right? So then I go. So that's what I would say for you. And then Stephanie said, would it work if you just did a vision board traditionally with pictures in a magazine? Of course. As I said, I've been teaching traditional vision boards for 15 years. I love them. I don't necessarily say that you have to do AI if that's not, the direction you want to go. But the biggest piece to that is, one, make sure you have an image of yourself in the center. Two, if you're trying to fit your world into the magazines or into Pinterest, images, that's where it gets a little bit more challenging, right? So instead of finding the exact image that Trisha wanted of her sitting in front of the podcast, in that area, and as she said, next time she put her house in, absolutely, that would be my advice, right? Get everything in there that feels and is emotionally connected to you. That's the only kind of thing that I would say, that now that I've seen the way that I can create from an imagination point of view, because really the sky's the limit. The only limitation is our imagination. It makes it a little bit more challenging, but a traditional vision board, 100%. If you're going to do one or the other or none, do a traditional vision board, 100%. I believe in those as well. So I love that. Yeah, Pete, so cute. That's funny about cottage. Yeah, your cottage in England. So obviously, Trisha, we've talked about this before, but definitely bringing in a picture of your scene right now and then creating that within AI, super easy to do. Not wanting to see and not wanting to be seen are related. Yeah, right. I mean, this is something that I've seen over and over again, just in my coaching over the last 24 years anyways. And a really good example of this is somebody who wants to lose weight. Okay. So I've had clients who want to lose 50, 60, 100 pounds, right? That's their goal, right? And I say goal because they've never seen themselves that way, or maybe they don't even remember what they look like. Maybe it was so long ago. But so how do you work towards something that you can't see? And this has always been my problem, because I could never visualize what I could see. So if my business looked this way, my life looked this way, whatever, but what does it look like? And if I can see myself 50 pounds lighter, then of course I'm going to work towards it. It's like my gym image, right? I now know and can see it, and now I can work towards it. Create an image of myself playing the piano and singing in a microphone. Yes, heck yes, Wendy. That sounds amazing. You should share that one too, because I have seen a few performers, people who are into that, and theirs are incredible. And like, you can use lighting and mood, and it's just like, one of the girls in my AI identity lab created one where she was just about to go up on stage. She was backstage, about to go on stage, and you could feel the energy in the image, right? And that's going to bring me just really quickly to this next thing that I get a lot of, and I hear this a lot. And as you can imagine, and you even saw it when I asked the question about AI, is some people love it, some people loathe it, some people hate it. And as I said, that's okay. What people have said to me in the past is AI imaging looks soulless. Okay. Agree, disagree, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to tell you this story. So I believe everything we do, again, comes back to the human being. If you now know me and I'm talking to you and I'm excited and I'm passionate, and I know you can feel that about it because I feel it when I talk. If I'm creating an image that has me sitting at a piano singing my song, like whatever it is, and that energy is in that image, that's what other people should feel. And if they don't, it's more of a them question than it is a me question. Right. And again, we're not going to go there, but I'm just saying that's more of that. So for me, it's all about your morals and ethics, your energy, your excitement, your passion, right? I do AI imaging for entrepreneurs who do photo shoots, for example. So if anybody's ever done a photo shoot, I personally hate them. I hate getting my hair done. I hate going shopping. I hate finding new outfits, all of those things, right? I also don't love spending $3,000 doing it, but that's a whole other story. So instead of, I do what I call an AI photo shoot for entrepreneurs. And it's amazing because, you get beautiful outfits, you save time, you save money, all of those things. But when I talk about my passion, right, I could talk to you about AI photo shoots, and I'd probably be here telling you why they're great and why they're lovely and all of those things. But when I talk to you about visualization and vision boards, I am here. I am in your face. I am excited. So every single image that I create for myself is that. And I feel that. And most people feel that as well. And as I said, if they don't, it's usually a them problem, not a me problem. So That's the one thing that I would say to that. But overall, I would love, Wendy, for you to do a picture like that, because again, the image itself holds onto that feeling, right? I don't know anything about you singing at your piano, or if it's something that you've wanted to do and you've, not done. My daughter is really interested in karaoke or singing, whatever you want to call it. And she's always like, oh, I'm not sure. Created this image of her. She actually wants to do more like Asian karaoke where you go into her. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but I created this image for her, and it gives you confidence to just go out and do it, right? You see the image and you're like, let's go do this. So I think it would be amazing for you to create something like that, Wendy. And I think it would be just such a fun experiment to see, because one of the things that I teach within my workshop and within my AI community is reflection. Okay. So it's one thing, and I'm sure you guys have seen these images are going up all over the place, whether you're on social media or not, a lot or not, they go up and they just, either they look really crappy, maybe they look plasticky, you don't know what's going on with them, whatever. I talk a lot about reflection in our community, because once you look at an image, you need to reflect upon it. You need to think about it, maybe journal about it, maybe talk it out, whatever it may be, because certain things can come up. Right. I mean, Trisha looked at her image, shared it with us, and then she said, yeah, this is not my house. This is, I might need to change the way that my hair is or whatever it is. That's reflection. And we have to really think, is it negative or positive? Right. And a lot of the time, us women, I hate to say this, are so damn mean to ourselves. So it's like, what is going on with my neck? Like, we are very, very reflective, but usually in the negative than it is in the positive. But I always say, let's talk about that. Let's work on that reflection. And so while you're going through it, what comes up for you? How does that feel? Oh my goodness, that was a really long one coming in. Let's see what this creativity is very different for me. When I design a kitchen for a client, I take it, not just their words, but a 90% of their non-language communication. Oh, I love that. See, I would be your absolute worst client. I was actually saying this to Trisha the other day. My husband and I talked about when we got married and we're like thinking about a house. Do you want to build a house or do you want to buy a house? I'm the girl who walks into a store after looking at a mannequin and taking everything off that mannequin because I can't see what it looks like. My husband's like, does this shirt look nice? I'm like, go put it on with something. How would I know if it looks nice if I don't see what it looks like? Right. So anyways, Kathleen, I would be your worst client. So kitchens, however, when you're at your drafting board, you still hand and draft. I'm tapping into the energy field. Yes, I love that. So you're taking your own your work into something else, which is so good. 30 years, never advertising, all the clients referrals. I love this so much. So I'm not learning about other people's images because they're creating what has not been created. This is a gift I love to share with my clients. I think that we forget that humans are behind all the tech. Oh, this is so interesting. And I'm going to tell you this. I do AI imaging for people and I do videos. So I do different product videos. I did a music video for a client. I did, these types of things. The amount of work that goes in to using AI is not to be underestimated. So even what you're just saying there, Kathleen, you have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. What people think when it comes to AI is that nobody's using their brain anymore. They're just doing it. Does it happen? Heck yes, I see that. But the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes, I did this music video, as I said, for a client. It probably took me 100 hours of work. I had to splice and change and edit and do and pull this AI tool and pull that. It's a whole other world, and that's okay. Yeah, you wouldn't expect me to say it. Yeah, I'm glad. Maybe I would be a good client for you because you'd be able to use all your other tools and your other expertise to be able to help me out. But yeah, I was like, I am not building a house. I could not even tell you what a floor or kitchen or anything is. Walk into a demo house, I'm in. I would buy that one in a heartbeat. All right, so
I saw you. Do you mind if I
yeah, go ahead.
I saw that image that you made. I'm not gonna say who it was for, but I was so a long time ago, I was part of this was in college, one of those psychological studies where they pay the students like $5 to be participating in the study. And I didn't realize that study would go on to be famously quoted for years after. And it was about how women have a worse body image of themselves than what they actually look like. And I was part of that. And I did that too. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, that your idea of what women were going to think was right on the money. And it was accurate. Women don't see themselves as they don't embrace their wonderful features. And they always kind of pick themselves to pieces, almost always pick themselves to pieces. A lot of women do. Always. I saw the image that you made for that person and it was gorgeous. I mean, unbelievable. I was like, oh my God. First I thought, I want a picture of me like that. That's so beautiful. But it really, it lifts your heart up. They really did. It was just like, how gorgeous is that? How beautiful
Yeah.
that even if it was AI, something made an image of that person that they could embrace, that they could step into with their own confidence, and it probably is going to impact how she views herself for the rest of her life. Amazing. I mean, it's really, it's very empowering as a woman to see things like that. And you know, I just love it. Just love it. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I'm
You do-
part of a movement of other women who work in AI, not only, of course, women in AI. We were trying to, help and support women as a whole, but also to bring people up to that level, right? To have their confidence, to step into their power, to stop hiding, to stop shrinking. And it is such an important thing for us to do in general. And would I love to turn around and say, just go out and take more photos of yourself, share yourself, be happy where you're at. Don't worry about any of those things. I want that for our life and I want that for our world. But right now, what we're seeing is people are still not doing that. So what we're doing with the AI imaging is helping. And so it's a stepping stone to what the ideal world would be, is that everybody's just happy exactly how they are. And it is unfortunate for women because, and I say this women mostly, some of my men clients are like, oh my God, I love that. Awesome. Some of my women clients are like, right. So I say this from experience, but I say this often. I've been in this room now with you guys for 50 minutes. If I were to ask you what color my eyes were, most people wouldn't know. Okay. Most people wouldn't know. My close friends might know. If you've seen my AI cartoon image, you might know. But other than that, you wouldn't know. But when we look at ourselves, we're like, oh my God, why are the eyes green? My eyes aren't green. By the way, they're blue. If you ever wanted to know, I have blue eyes. But it's just, we see ourselves so much more critically and so much more specifically, where most people, whether you've been in my world or not, probably have never looked at me enough to see what color my eyes are. So when it comes to making our AI imaging, I think it's one of those things where I feel like there's a lot of times people are like, oh, that's not right, or oh, that doesn't look like me, or oh, whatever, where if most of the people around you, I mean, my husband, my kids, they always know if it's an AI image or not. They know. My mom sometimes doesn't. And I'm just like, that's weird. But okay, obviously, congratulations. Good job, Lindsay. Like, you made a really good image. But that's what's, oh yeah, Zoom is making them brown. Interesting, right? But I also have my glasses on. Like, there's other things. But again, it's just, we are so obsessed, and I don't mean this in the bad way, but the idea of like, I want to make sure my hair is the right color. I always have like my bangs, I have my glasses on, I usually have a necklace on, I have a ring on. You're not going to find gold jewelry in my world, right? And so if you put gold jewelry on an image, you're not going to feel that same connection, right? And so all of those things play a part. So is the computer part hard? This is a great question. So I would say the most important thing about AI as a whole is it's getting easier and easier every single day. Okay. So if you had talked to me, 2 years ago, I might be like, it's not hard, but as Trisha said, I can work you through it. I can show you how. It's pretty simple in that sense. But what we tend to do is we get very overwhelmed because, let's be honest, there's 1,050 million tools out there and new ones are popping up every day, and then they're changing and they're doing this. So is it super hard? No. And the reason I say that is because it is getting easier. So the two that I did mention is Gemini. So it is a Google workspace, part of the ecosystem. Super easy to use. It's not, I mean, again, I'm not taking away from what I do. There's lots of intricacy, you know what I'm saying, little pieces of it that go around with it, but you can learn. That's what I would say. And the other one where you're talking more of a training of your AI twin, that does get a little bit more challenging. But again, if you have the right information and if you have the right education and demonstration, which is what I pride myself on doing, then it doesn't feel hard. That's how I look at it. And the feedback that I've got is really big. How do we ignore social media, fashion magazines, celebrity looks? So it makes isn't that the question of the century? I mean, I have two teenage daughters. They're 16 and 18. And I remember reading a stat when my oldest daughter was about 6. And it said that little girls at the age of 7 have the most confidence that they've ever had. And every year after that, it goes down. It gives me chills still now. Okay. The thought of that, right? I have two daughters at the time. I read this thing. I'm a health and wellness life coach who's dealing with women, transforming them from the inside out, being a better role model for their kids. And this is the stat I read. I don't know the answer to that. I would love to, Sandy, turn around and say, this is it. So I will tell you what I have done with my girls. Okay. They're now, as I said, teenagers. They still do have some social media, which, argue right or wrong, I don't know. But it's really trying to let them understand and believe that they are enough as exactly how they are. Now, us, I'm almost 50. So, we've had years and years of society drilling into our brain that you are not good enough, you're not slim enough, you're not fat enough, whatever it is it's saying to us, we've had it. I'd love to be able to answer that question for you. I think what people do tend to say about AI imaging is that everybody goes for like the really thin, the really, plasticky, big boobs. Yes, that happens a lot. But I think as long as we continue to be true to ourselves, that's what I try to really focus on. So if somebody comes to me who happens to be, not a size 0, well, we're not making them a size 0 in AI. And that's what we're trying to really incorporate. And then if somebody does come to me and says, I want my fitness perfect body, which I showed you as my triceps are popping. And if that feels good to me, keep doing it. If it doesn't, we don't. And so that's the only real answer I can give you from my perspective. But it is something that I wish, magazines back in the day, like I remember showing my daughters when they were like 14 and 12, a picture of Marilyn Monroe. And I mean, we all know Marilyn Monroe was an absolute goddess at her time. In our world today, she wouldn't be thought of that way. And that's scary, right? That's sad. And I hate that for everybody, for all of us involved. But yeah, I think it has to be, again, starting from the level that we're at, where I really encourage people to look at what is going to make them feel good versus what's going to make them feel like it's not tangible, it's not possible, and it just makes you feel like crap. So that's for me what I really focus on. And so that may be, right now you might be carrying 20 extra pounds that you don't really want to, but I'm not going to make you 20 pounds lighter. I want you to be more real and view and be happy with that. And so it's finding that fine line between the two of them. And I think right now, as long as we continue to do that, we fight a good fight. I mean, I don't know, magazines, Instagram, TikTok, influencers all over the place. Ugh, I mean, I hate it all. And, even as I said, almost 50, I feel it just like my 16 and 18-year-old do. It's just like we all do to a degree. So yeah, I wish I had the answer, Sandy. I wish I had a magic wand. It would be lovely, but I do my best and I try.
I would bring, oh, you do great. I would bring in just loving yourself, looking at that picture of yourself, and then put that picture on the mirror in your bathroom and then stand in front of that mirror and tell yourself, I love you. Just literally do some mirror work and loving yourself and knowing that it isn't about a comparison. It's literally about what's the best I can look and feel and be in the body that I'm in this moment, like in the present moment, and just embracing that. And that it is everything about vision and how you see yourself and how you experience the world around you and see yourself moving forward into this life that you love. So I have loved every minute of this. It's been so much fun. It was exceeded my expectations, and my expectations were pretty high because I think you're wonderful. So I'm going to be wrapping this up for YouTube. Now, hang on a minute, because I'm going to see if we have any other questions in our little private VIP after party. Anyone on the channel, if you're new to us, please subscribe. If you are been with us for a while, you will know that we always have courses coming up that help you with your vision, and we love being part of your world and learning and helping you learn about holistic vision improvement. Lindsay, your information will be in the show notes below this video on how to reach you and what programs that you're offering. I cannot recommend Lindsay highly enough. She is fantastic for helping you in whatever you want as far as life visioning and health and wellness. So, all right, we're going to say goodbye to you.